The alien comes upon Earth, beautiful blue marble, orbiting the sun, and there's oceans and land and clouds. And then they learn that there's a species that has spread itself across all of the land. They say, oh, that's a very productive, very successful species. And then they come down and they say, oh, wait a minute, that same species has drawn lines on this otherwise contiguous set of land masses, and these lines, you can't cross them unless you have special papers. Not only that, they've divided themselves by who they worship, what their skin color is, what their, how they dress, where resources are and where they're not, on a level where they will even commit violence, even all-out war.
Sounds so convincing, right? Like, yeah, this'll, it doesn't make any sense why nations are divided and, all the violence is just because we have different nations. Well, all this whole video, this is how they promote and get people in the mindset of the New World Order being a good idea. God divided the lands so that people would seek him out. And he divided the people, the nations, for that reason. And the reason that it was bad in Genesis chapter 11 that the nations got together is not because they were getting together like, oh, we can all get along. The problem is that they were getting together under a different banner than God. In other words, they were making up their own rules outside of things that were godly, just like the New World Order is today. It's not like, oh, we're bringing in this New World Order under the rules of God. No, in order to bring all the nations together, they have to drop out God's laws, as we can see happening here in America and all around the world. So the idea of a one world order is not a good idea because of that. Not because, oh, everybody's going to get along. No, because when they do this, when they try to unite all the peoples together, then the idea is to unite everybody against God's order of how he created things to be. That's why the New World Order and the one world government is a bad idea. And also Neil deGrasse Tyson, of course, pushing the alien deception agenda and the whole ball flying through space agenda lie. It's all these, you're looking at right there, you're looking at hardcore CIA trained agency right there. This guy is just probably the best of the best because of where he is right now. He's just so good at pushing the agenda. And this is seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. People look at what Paul wrote in the book of, I believe it's 2 Timothy or 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy, I think it is. And Paul talks about and warns about, in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. Well, people in their minds think, oh, doctrines of devils. They think of a church like a religious setting. No, the doctrines of devils are in the world of science, in the world of everything on earth. They're not just in what we call church building. Doctrines of devils, the biggest doctrines of devils aren't in what we call a church building. They're in the schools. That's why we are the way we are. And Paul also warns about that in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 20 and 21. He warns about science falsely so called. They call it science, but it's not. They tell you you're on a ball flying through space spinning with water sticking to it, which makes absolutely no scientific sense whatsoever, but people believe it. Why? Because people are like fish. They go after shiny, good-looking things. That's it. These guys got the money, they got the suits, they run everything, they must be right. But yet the Bible says the exact opposite, that Satan is the god of this world. He is the one. That's why Jesus said it's a horrible thing for a man to gain the whole world, like Neil deGrasse Tyson here does, but lose his soul. The men who have all the money and all the influence and all the power, not over me and not over people who are awake to the truth, but to the rest of the world, which is the majority in numbers, they gain the world, but they lose their soul. They have to answer to God. There's not even going to be a possibility for most of these people to have any opportunity to answer for God. So all of this is doctrines of devils. It's seduction. That's why it's called seducing spirits. You see, it sounds good. It's seductive. And if you don't know the Bible and why God divided the nations and why when they come together, what actually happens, if you don't know all that from the Bible only, then this sounds great. This is just, oh man, yeah, that's true, man. We should all just have a one world order, a new world order government, and accept aliens and accept all these lies. You see, it's a seducing spirit and doctrine of devil. And if you're not in the Bible, you'll never catch it.